Hello and welcome to the podcast formerly known as Early Access. I'm joined by Jeremy.
Yo!
Jake.
Hey guys.
Brian.
What's going on?
And I'm Chris.
That's
I think I
right.
already said that. No.
No, you didn't.
Nope.
Well,
you didn't.
So what's up? What's up?
What's up? I don't know. What's up with you?
I am pumped because Stranger Things Season 2 comes out at midnight.
Dude, I cannot wait.
That's going to be pretty good.
Are you going to skip work tomorrow to binge?
No, because I have other reasons to skip work that are Mario Odyssey.
Dude.
You're gonna get in trouble now, though.
No, I'm not going to skip work. I'm going to work.
And play Mario Odyssey.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. And I just got back from Colorado, which was fucking awesome. And I so I drank some Coors at the temperature of the Rockies. That was pretty cool.
Was it still shite?
It was how it was intended to be consumed.
If you drink enough of it, you really can't taste the hose.
You really
water.
can't taste anything.
Right,
if you
exactly.
Drink,
yeah. That's the point. That's the point.
All right. Anyone else have anything fun they want to share about the CIA?
Oh, the CIA popped Jack Kennedy. This is breaking news as of today. What's today?
October something?
26.
October 26, 2017. We now have conclusive evidence that the CIA popped Jack Kennedy,
President Trump personally secured the release of the Kennedy files, and now we know it was the Dulles brothers. Oh fuck.jpg.
Dude, we know. It was confirmed on r/conspiracy.
r/conspiracy.
Stay woke. Hashtag stay woke.
Number one
woke,
post was
brother.
just dulles.exe, and then we all knew what that meant.
Dude.
And we just lost all our subscribers.
Yeah, this is going. That went off the rails fast.
It's the fucking internet. We just gained 20 subscribers. They think it's a conspiracy podcast.
So,
They're making.
Tune in-
They got
tune
their
into our
tinfoil hats
Patreon.
on, and they.
none of that
They're
gaming
like, this
shit.
is what
We
I've been
want-
looking
yeah.
for.
Yes, tune into the Patreon
So
stream later
have you
today.
guys ever played that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I've
that
not played
game.
that
You
one.
never
I've
played
not
that
played
game.
But
It's a video game.
What was it called? What was
Maybe
it?
I don't know.
what else have you been playing besides that game?
We should play that today.
I got a lot to say, so maybe.
Okay.
Start us off now.
Jake?
Start us
No,
off.
I'll go last. I got a lot to
Yeah,
say.
Jake?
So.
All right. Well, I've been away for a couple weeks, so I haven't played too much.
If you had a
But
Switch, that would have been
I was thinking about getting the Switch, but I did not have time before I left, which I was bummed about. But I've been playing more Warframe as before, and you guys all should check it out. It's totally a dope game. Yeah, so I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. Still the same thing. I haven't gotten to try out their new content on Plains of Eidolon, which I'm a little bummed about, but it's fine. I've been playing a bit of Origami, which is, I don't know if you guys have played Dishonored 2. It's very similar to that. It was made by a small team of I think maybe 2 guys in Unity. It's more like Asian ninja kind of thing than steampunk, but same idea. You have super shadow powers and you stealth around and you kill a whole bunch of dudes. So it's pretty fun. It gets old pretty quickly, I gotta be honest. But it's like
stellar first impressions.
it's fun, dude. And it's pretty cheap. It's an indie game, so it's, my guess is it's probably around $10 right now. I don't know. The October Halloween sale's going on Steam, on GOG, on everything, so it's probably pretty cheap.
Our viewers never would have known. Or our listeners.
Nobody.
Our
Yeah,
sons.
nobody
You gotta dig
knows
really
about the
deep.
Steam
Yeah.
sale
This is the
unless
breaking
you listen
story.
to us.
Dude,
We're-
You gotta
why
dig
they
real
tune
deep
in.
to hear about that.
They gotta come for the breaking news.
It's true.
What about you, Jay?
I'm still just playing Fallout New Vegas, but I've crossed the threshold. I was telling you the other day, I've crossed the threshold from, and this happens to me with every RPG. It happened with Skyrim, it happened with Fallout 4, and now it's happened with New Vegas. Where initially I'm kind of I don't know, this game seems kind of overhyped. It's kind of slow. I'm not really into it yet. And then you get to be 25 hours in or 30 hours in, and then you're like, oh fuck, this game is excellent. And that's where it just kind of hit me. So I'm starting to get my companions. I'm starting to be more aware of kind of the context of the whole world and stuff. stuff like that. So yeah, so still Fallout New Vegas, still rocking it. Probably going to be maining that for the next few months or few weeks.
Wow, I was
My
gonna
bad.
say.
You're gonna be maining it.
Dude, I'm maining it.
It's his main, dude.
It's my main.
It's his main. Who's your favorite like group?
My favorite group.
Yeah.
So, I'm.
And why is it Caesar? No, I'm kidding.
Dude, so actually, this is interesting. I was on Reddit the other day, and our Fallout, or I guess just Fallout, whichever way you want to put it, but the Fallout sub, everyone on they had a whole thread about how like Caesar's Legion or Caesar's Legion is like the #1 faction, but if you go by Steam achievements, the victory missions for Caesar's Legion are the lowest of what I believe to be the 4 or 5 main faction storylines, which is the New California Republic, Caesar's Legion, where you link up with like the fucking robot, which I haven't really gotten into yet, that I haven't really hit that part of the story. And then there's one called No Gods, No Masters, where I assume you fuck all those people. And I think like Mr. House is in there too. I don't know. But Caesar's Legion was the least popular. So I've been trying to not piss anybody off yet. So I don't have strong favorites. I am playing the way I play most games, which is like white hat. Like I'm not just killing everybody. So I probably will not be doing the Caesar's Legion thing. I'm kind of leaning towards the No Gods, No Masters approach, but I've been doing a lot of NCR missions, which are like...
New California Republic?
Yeah, dude.
So
Nice.
did you play Fallout 4?
Yes.
Fallout 3?
No.
So how does it compare to Fallout 4?
Well, then this was the other thing. When I brought up, I think on a previous podcast, I brought up Fallout 4 and why I didn't understand the kind of hate that it got from Fallout fans for, like, quote-unquote, not being an RPG. Mm-hmm. Like, you see all the time people are like, oh, it's a great game, just not a good Fallout game. And I kind of understand that now. You definitely do have less choice with the story, just in the sense that Fallout 4 shoehorns you more into following the main story at least a little bit. Like you will run into the factions much earlier. There's also a lot more locations, so you just kind of get pushed into many more quests and a lot more factions much more quickly. Whereas in New Vegas, like you're straight up wandering around and like everything comes very slowly. Like it's a lot more organic in the world building, and your choices. You have a lot more freedom of choice because of that. That said, it looks like whole ass. Like, it looks terrible. I'm not playing with any mods.
Mm-hmm.
But
partial ass.
No, whole ass.
It looks even
like
worse
shit.
on the 360.
Like both.
It looks like trash.
Double cheeks right now.
Yeah, and I'm playing. I mean, obviously, it's an old game. I'm playing 360, or I'm 360. I'm playing 60 FPS. I'm playing Ultra. It still looks like shit. That's not surprising. It's an old Bethesda game. The actual like gameplay, like the combat, is pretty poor.
It's a little jank.
It's pretty jank. Like you can't sprint. You like default run, but the like run speed is basically like a normal walk speed.
Do you go in third person when it looks like you're kind of just ice skating?
Briefly,
on, like,
I do go into third person, and like she's like doing her like like it's like you can watch her kind of like levitate up the side of a cliff.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim looks, and I played Skyrim with very, very few mods. Skyrim looks leagues better than Fallout 3.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first played Skyrim after playing BioShock and BioShock Infinite, I was like, Skyrim looks like shit. So like Fallout New Vegas looks like real shit. Like it looks like trash.
Yeah. Well, at least
But it's fun.
Yeah.
It is fun.
I'm still playing.
Would recommend. So. Yeah, no, gonna finish it out. No question.
So I'm gonna introduce kind of a newish segment. It plays along with the what are you playing.
Whoa.
Brian's going.
Okay.
He said that he wanted to go last. And this is...
Okay.
I
see what you're doing.
Oh my god.
Jesus
God.
Nice.
No, it's really good. We're cool.
Yeah, so I'm introducing kind of like a new thing. It's not necessarily going to happen every week, but when one of us are at a point where we have completed a game, or we feel that we've played it to the point of completion, and we want to share some kind of concluding thoughts, we're going to be able to do that. There's going to be... So it's kind of a review. There's no formal structure. You can rate it out of 2. You can rate it out of 5, out of 7, out of 10. Percent, letter grade, I don't care. Or you can not rate it at all. And you can make it a rant. You can come more prepared. But that's just something that we're going to be doing from now on if anybody feels compelled to do so. I'm going to start with Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
You gonna rant?
Short rant.
What's your format?
Short rant.
Short rant.
Short rant.
Short rant with a score. I'm gonna try to flip it though. I'm gonna give the score first and justify why I give the score.
I like that.
That's good shit.
And yeah, I think I talked about this on the first episode. And the reason I'm doing this is because I was traveling, so that's all I really played, and I completed it. So I was like, oh, this is a good thing to try. Anyways, let's go. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I think we all saw, at least I know I personally and Jeremy, because I showed it to him, saw the like leaked image of it, and it looked ridiculous and it looked stupid.
It looked really fucking stupid.
Absolutely.
Then also the whole idea of it sounds stupid.
It sounds stupid.
Yes. Then E3 came around, we saw it, and it was like, oh, okay, this is actually surprising. It's basically XCOM. That was not what you expected from a title called Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. So here we are. I finished it. It took me about 20 hours without nearly getting 100%. I pretty much just went through the main campaign, and then there's a bunch of challenges and a co-op mode, which I didn't touch all that much. So that's about how long it took. I would say it'd probably take 30 hours to do a full completion of it. I would give it about an 85 out of 100 right now if I had to, which is more or less what the Metacritic score is. So I'm going to kind of talk about why. The good is the presentation is fantastic. It looks great on the Switch. Ubisoft did a really good job graphically, pushing the Switch to its really high visual fidelity. Everything's animated really well, and I think Ubisoft's rendition of Mario is one of the best that I've seen. The gameplay is also really good. I'm a really passionate Fire Emblem fan. This is also a tactics game. I think it does a lot of things better than Fire Emblem in that the combat doesn't switch from that kind of jarring sprite to 3D. It's all in 3D. The movement is kinetic, happening on the field. The fighting's like kinetic. It doesn't transition between like an overview screen to a battle screen. It's all just right there, and it flows perfectly. It's something that XCOM kind of does too, which I appreciate. And it plays really fun with the right amount of challenge. They took the XCOM kind of style play and they diluted it just enough so that newcomers can like it, but not enough that veterans of like Fire Emblem, say, would be upset by it or think it was oversimplified. The reason that I'm not super thrilled about it is I think they overlooked this one thing. So those challenges in that co-op mode, there's no strict levels on your characters, but you get these points that you can use to invest in a skill tree. So when you have two options, you can beat like a world and then you get these challenge levels. You can either do the challenge levels or you can continue playing the main story. If you continue playing the main story, then your characters are going to get too strong and the challenges aren't going to be very fun because you're going to be overpowered. On the flip side, if you do the challenges first, the main story is not going to be very fun. I think they should have scaled the challenges to the number of skill points that you had to make it a little bit more difficult. That's just me. I think that was a huge oversight. And when I was playing it, I was thinking, well, I don't know what I want to do because I don't want the game to be too easy. I don't want the challenges to be too hard. And I kind of felt like that should have been something that was dealt with for me. But other than that, very fun game. And I would say pick it up, but Mario Odyssey comes out tomorrow, so get that instead. Maybe come back to this one later.
So if you could buy one game on the Switch, would you get Mario Odyssey? Would you get Zelda? Would you get Splatoons? Have you played Splatoons?
Yeah, I did play Splatoon 2. I would get Zelda.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
not a surprising answer.
100%. I'm not going to rant about that now, but 100% Zelda. It's my favorite game of all time. Anyways,
Of all
Keep
time?
that one.
Nerd.
of all time.
Keep that one in reserve.
Yeah. So I'll keep that in the chamber. What have you been playing, Brian?
Here we go. Lock in.
No. It's not like it's just kind of big news for if you're into wargaming stuff. Who they publish World of Tanks and World of Warships, and I'm a big fan of their stuff personally. World of Warplanes 2.0 came out this week, and they did an excellent job with it. The original World of Warplanes was quite honestly shit. I played it for a few hours actually, and it wasn't fun. You crashed a lot, you died a lot. Obviously you're flying a plane, and it's a lot different from driving a tank or driving a ship. But you, it was the reboot of it. I think the biggest thing they added to it was respawns. So if you get killed within before the last 5 minutes of the battle, and I think they're 15 minutes, you get to respawn, and the time goes up as many times as you get killed. So if you get killed 2 times, it takes longer to respawn than it does for your first time, etc. I think that's big, especially when I'm not very good at the game. I'll be honest, but when I'm playing ground attack aircraft, I crash a lot. Like, I just straight up crash into the ground. And I think it's really helpful to be able to have a respawn when you do something really fucking stupid like that, to be honest. It also helps when you're trying to figure out what type of tactics work best for what plane, because you can try different things throughout the match and get an idea of what your plane handles best for. I think it's a lot of fun. They really turned the game around completely from what it was in the earlier versions. I haven't been playing battleships or tanks this whole past week. I've just been playing World of Warplanes. The games are really diverse. You get they're like dynamically generated bases, and they all have like different abilities. Like, some of them can launch rockets at the enemy bases, and there's airstrips where you can respawn if you die. So every match is a little bit different, even though it's the same 2 or 3 maps. The points that you're trying to capture and the abilities that those points have are going to be a little bit different every time, which I think really adds a lot to the fun factor of it, if you could call it that.
How's it compare to Battleships?
I think I still like Battleships better because it's more strategic. This is it's more arcade than tanks. It happens a lot faster. Like, you get respawns. In some, at least with how it is now, in some circumstances you can actually change your plane. So if you come in with a plane that's not really effective with that matchup, you can switch to another plane of the same tier. So it's a lot more arcadey. I think it's the most arcadey out of the 3 that Wargaming has done. It's certainly more arcadey than War Thunder, which is probably their biggest competition. But some people are looking for that. It's something that you can play. You play a few matches, and before you know it, it's been 2.5, 3 hours, which I think they have a good balance of realism and fun to play aspect of it. I don't think that Battleships is still probably my favorite, and I should clarify, Battleships is World of Warships. I just call it Battleships because why the hell not? But I don't think it's for everyone.
Because they're not all battleships, dude.
No, they're not.
Submarines.
There's no submarines. There's not going to be submarines.
What's the sub game that you want?
That's Cold Waters. That's completely different.
All right,
that's forthcoming.
That's coming. But
little sneak peek.
It's not for everyone. I think a lot of people are more attuned, I guess, to that sort of fast-paced shooter environment, and I think that this caters a lot more to that need. It's still strategic, but things happen a lot quicker than they do in tanks or battleships. So I think they'll do well. I was really surprised with how well they did with the update. I wasn't that optimistic going into it. So
And it's free to play.
It is free to play. All 3 of them are free to play. They're freemiums, and they have Warplanes now has the loot crate system, the scourge of gamers everywhere. But
have you opened any? Have you got?
Oh yeah, no, they implement it pretty well. You can win them fairly easily through just playing the game frequently
For now.
and getting better. No, they do okay with it. I think that they
don't scale the grind.
They're really one of the better companies in terms of freemium, with the exception of tanks, but I'm not going to get into that right now.
Keep in the chamber.
But if you want to check it out, I would definitely recommend.
Received late.
All right, so we're going to jump right into the news. This week's actually a pretty busy week for news. We're going to start with Mario Odyssey, which is currently sitting at a 97 on Metacritic, making it not only one of the best games of all time, critically, but Nintendo's second home run of the year.
So I do have a little like beef on this, just a little bit.
A little bit.
So can I go into it?
What's your beef?
So it's just my point is that like, so you referred to it as like best game of all time, and we've been talking about Zelda a lot. You said it was quote unquote one of the best games of all time.
One of the best critically.
Because it's at a 97, which is actually, that's to my point. So basically, the long and short of it is that you've got Mario right now sitting at a 97 on Metacritic. You have Zelda came out earlier this year. You know, similar. I think it's currently at a 97 on Metacritic, but for a while was like a 99.
Yeah, 98, 99.
Yeah, so insanely high scores. And basically, my whole broader point about this is just that Nintendo right now, there is a critical consensus around Nintendo's mainline core products, which is that it's basically just a critical narrative of success around Nintendo that no one is willing to go against at the moment, which I'm not saying they necessarily should. I'm sure they're excellent games, but I don't put a lot of stock in those scores either. It's just that's kind of where the reviewing culture is at the moment. It's kind of like if you read...
You think the meta is updank Nintendo?
Yeah. At least in terms of their games. I think.
Hold on. Did you get that from r/conspiracy?
I did not. No. So that's actually a good way of putting it. The critical meta is updank Nintendo, at least when it comes to Mario, when it comes to Zelda. There's nostalgia baked into these properties about how good they are. They're considered to be classic, etc., etc. It's basically like if you read a review of like a Beatles album. Like you're not going to read a bad review.
Now I'm gonna let you finish.
That's what.
But Nintendo had the best game of all time.
I'm sure they're great games, but like how much better is, compare. And these are games that conveniently came out at the same time. Inconveniently, I haven't played either of them. But you have like Zelda and Twilight Zero Dawn or Horizon Zero Dawn, which came out at like the same time. I'm sure that they're like both great games, and Horizon Zero Dawn also has a really, really good Metacritic score. But like realistically, is Zelda Breath of the Wild that much better than every other game that came out? No. The other thing is that reviewers, particularly with these really established franchises, are increasingly less willing to go against the critical grain, with the exception of things like Call of Duty, which are again the opposite consensus is there. The kind of consensus that is that's a sellout franchise. So for something
because
like
it is,
which it is, I don't dispute that at all. But for something like Mario or Zelda, the consensus is just that these are great things, and so they're very well established. And reviewers aren't going to be like, no one's going to want to be the one reviewer who was like, no, it was shit. So like everyone will be like, you're gay, you suck.
So you're saying they're not bad games; they just aren't.
Well, I don't know what kind of games they are. I haven't played them.
Okay.
So my point isn't really anything about the gameplay. Okay. My point is just that I don't think the reviews really mean very much.
Well, let me.
Like I didn't have to wait for the game to come out to know that Mario Odyssey was going to get a 97 on Metacritic. I would have been astonished if it didn't get at least a 95.
What?
You know what I mean? Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
So my point is that you don't even have to play the game. I didn't even have to play it. It didn't even have to come out yet, and I knew it was going to be that level of critical reception. I could say the same thing about Zelda. That's just where the whole critical and fanboy culture is at the moment, which is fine. I'm sure it's a great game.
Okay.
There are lots of games that are great games.
Okay. 1.
3.
4.
1.
Nintendo fans have been through a fairly turbulent 5 years, and this is, to us, probably like in my life, this is the best year to be a Nintendo fan, period, because we're coming out of a dark period, and they have, I have only played a very small amount of Mario Odyssey, but based on the reviews, I think I'm going to like it.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can... I'm sure it's good, but and also your experience of what it is to be a Nintendo fan right now is shaped by and influenced by the critical and kind of cultural consensus of the moment. Is it that much better to be a Nintendo fan today than
the Wii U.
Well, yeah,
Yes,
but the Wii
it
U was
is.
an epic fucking
Yes,
disaster.
exactly. So that was a tough 5 years. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because
When
it
you
was
were a
an
Nintendo
obvious.
fan, it was hard, right?
It was hard to be.
And
You were
even
repressed.
then,
I was yes.
and even then, I think that reviewers were probably too kind to the Wii U.
Okay.
Okay. But like compare it to like
Let's-
the GameCube era, which didn't sell well, but there's a lot of phenomenal games. So like
But
it's
did
just.
you ever play Drop the Load?
And
on
actually,
the Wii U?
this plays into my whole point. Like, critics love a comeback narrative. Like, it's like, oh, Nintendo fucked up last time, but this time around, they got it right. And the Switch is marrying, the best features. And I've read this. It's marrying the best features of the Wii U with, the things that made the Wii work with classic Nintendo. And it's just like, oh, it's so classic. And this is what Nintendo does. Blah blah blah. Like,
So
it's all
you're,
just
you're
part of
saying
the-
the reviews are over. You're saying the reviews are
But here's
False.
I'm saying you can still if you're a Nintendo fan or if you're a gamer and if you have a Switch, if you have an emulator, if you're looking to play these games, whatever, you can certainly, or if you're just interested in the industry as I am, I follow Nintendo on my Apple News app. You can still learn a lot from the
Apple
reviews.
News app.
Dude, I use my Apple News app. You can still learn a lot from the reviews, but when it comes down to like trying to actually gauge, a score from present day today, this moment we're living in, the way that this particular critical climate is receiving Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild, and comparing it to really any other games from any other time period is just not a fair comparison.
So when I say Zelda Breath of the Wild is my
So if-
favorite game of all time,
Well, that's
think
subjective.
that you think no, but you it sounds like you think that I'm like buying into some hype a little bit.
I think that
a
the
little
hype
bit.
shapes it.
Okay.
Well, you also have that long history with Zelda games and Nintendo.
Yeah,
that I think
every
a
new
lot of
Zelda game that
critics
comes
have.
out is your favorite Zelda game of all time.
Not
I think
true.
that's part of the.
It was
a
true of
lot
Twilight Princess.
A lot of critics
Yes,
also
but
have
not
this.
Skyward Sword.
Yeah, but Skyward Sword wasn't a mainline entry.
Yes, it was.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I was
their
thinking
flagship
of
Wii-
Hyrule Warriors.
No, not Hyrule.
My bad.
Warriors.
No, but wasn't that also low-key trash?
Hyrule Warriors. Well, it was.
No,
It was a
Skyward
Warriors
Sword.
game. I liked Skyward Sword. I do not think it was trash. I do not think it was the best Zelda game.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a good game.
No, I mean that's and
It was
as
not
I
a good
said,
Zelda
your favorite game is subjective. Like I think my favorite game, I don't fucking know what my favorite
Little
game
Big
is.
Planet. Yeah, I know.
Dude, I have it, but
Little
I've
Big
never
Dick?
played it.
Okay, no,
I don't know.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. You get it. You get it.
No, that's fine that you feel that way. I
don't feel anyway. I'm saying if you read a review, if
Here's-
you tell me that the Metacritic score of Mario Odyssey is a 97, that just lets me know that it's probably pretty good.
yeah.
That doesn't let me know, oh my god, it's the fucking best game of all time. Now, if a brand
saying
new
it's-
game that had no reputation from, an unknown studio came out and people were like, oh my god, I'm fucking floored by this game, that would be different because there's no real reason for that expectation to be there.
He's got the conspiracies, man.
There's a couple of things that I want to bring up. So first off,
This is the Mario
a
show.
couple of minutes back, you said something along the lines of Nintendo has everything together, or something like that.
No.
Well,
Nintendo does not have everything together.
No, well, what did you?
Nintendo is a mess.
No, I mean, in terms of integration, like making everything work together. It wasn't they have everything together as a company, but the one thing.
No, my point is that their main entry games for their very high profile,
Their flagship titles.
their flagship titles,
For their
are almost
big IP.
always good.
They're polished.
They're very,
Right,
very polished.
Right, and but what I'm saying is that's their trademark.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I agree.
What Nintendo does better than anybody else is make a package that you can sell to someone in a store for X amount of dollars, and they'll take it home and enjoy it. And that's what they've always done.
To piggyback
no
on
question.
Brian, Assassin's Creed games, for the most part, come out annually. COD games come out annually. And yeah, they get solid scores typically. The
They
last
get, like,
Zelda
okay
the
scores.
last Zelda game took 5 years plus to develop.
That doesn't necessarily make it better or worse.
I'm not saying it makes it
no,
better or worse.
but
I'm saying
means
it gives
that
them
more
a,
attention was
there's
put
a
into.
lot
Not necessarily.
of time and money that goes in.
Yeah, 5 years was 5 years
But you
worth
could
of
look
attention
at,
was
you could
spent
look
on
at,
it.
I mean, there again, see, I'm going to have to go outside of video games to draw a parallel, but it's an instructive one, I think. Just one that comes to mind. You can look at something like Avengers Age of Ultron or Ant-Man, those are films that were in development for a lot of years, but not necessarily, they weren't good because of that. They had development
But
problems,
it's
they
apples
changed
and
hands a lot.
oranges.
Or you can look at, no, to go back to video games, you can look at fucking Duke Nukem Forever, which was in development for 10 years.
I was okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm saying
but
development time
the
doesn't
thing.
correlate
Here's
to
the
correlation,
thing.
not
Was
causation.
that a
Yeah.
business problem or was that a development problem?
both. It changed studios a lot of times.
Because-
it changed
because the-
consoles. It
Right.
changed
So
generations.
it was
changed
more
styles.
of a business problem than it was a development problem. The Nintendo games, the reason they take so long in development is because they take so long in development.
Yeah, but
They
then
release
they
them
have
when
to
they're
be
ready.
developed.
Sure.
Exactly. Nintendo's,
But they're not always good. Then sometimes you get a Skyward
no,
Sword.
the Nintendo game, the
Skyward Sword was a Nintendo game.
It was a good game.
Chris
it
thought
was a good game.
He
It wasn't
thought
a
it was a
great
good game.
But he said it wasn't a great game. And I think people who aren't big Zelda fans would probably call it just an okay game.
Right, but was
Yeah,
that
so it
like,
happens.
was that the mainstream
Yeah.
launch title for whatever? Was it?
Yeah,
the
It
you
one-
wasn't
you
a
don't-
launch
and
title.
I
It
don't-
was
I'm not-
end of the Wii. It was the Wii swan song.
But it was
Right,
it was a
so
main
it was
entry
the-
Zelda game.
It was.
Right, but it was still
not-
the end of a console's lifespan. It's not quite the same thing. You have to look at what Nintendo does. You have to look at from a marketing standpoint. It's not just video games that they're selling. They're selling the whole package.
That I agree with.
You're not
Yeah.
like
And that's
any.
why that's part of what the whole critical narrative around the Switch was. They just had such a good marketing campaign. I think
Right, but
people over evaluate the system because the marketing was so good.
Name a gaming tablet that has been as successful as the Switch.
There
with
isn't one.
similar capabilities. There hasn't been one because
But there also
Nintendo.
a comparably big company hasn't pushed a gaming tablet.
Right,
either.
but you can't separate the two things. Nintendo puts their weight behind something like the Switch and it sells.
I will
Like-
say the Tegra 1 is in a lot of NVIDIA products, which is the chip that the Switch uses.
Right.
It is in the NVIDIA Shield. It's in the NVIDIA
Right, but
tablet. It's in the NVIDIA base state.
you buy a Shield and you get a gaming tablet
But was it
in a
developed
box.
by Nintendo?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they use the same chip.
Yeah.
The Switch, like these are comparable experiences.
Yeah. Oh, no
But
question.
You buy
Sure.
that and
It's
you
a
get a
gaming
gaming tablet in a box. Fundamentally, you
With
have to
first party
figure-
content.
You have to, but you.
So
Not to the extent
mean,
that
that's a
Nintendo
positive.
has.
No. I mean with the Switch.
Yeah, with
That's
the
what I
Switch.
mean.
you get the.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm saying. Yeah, I totally agree. But I don't dispute any of that. And I like Nintendo. I've got a GameCube.
So yeah, I mean my point
got a
with
GameCube.
the.
I do. I play it. I got some games on it.
My point.
I got
with,
some fucking mini discs.
My point with
We got
This
one
gets,
at
yo.
home. My mom's got some games on it.
My point with Mario Odyssey was less that it's the best game of all time, more that Nintendo, if you look at Microsoft and you look at Sony and you look at the first year of the PS4 and the first year of the Xbox One, there was not a very strong first-party AAA lineup. There just wasn't.
They're also
There was-
not known for it.
Well, Sony is actually.
Hello.
For first.
Yes.
That would be
Halo.
Microsoft.
Oh yeah, dude.
Microsoft.
Micros-
He said
Xbox.
Sony and you said Microsoft.
No, we're
Well,
talking
both,
both.
yeah.
They
No,
have
Sony
What are
has-
the big Sony first party titles?
Sony has
Killzone.
not the Eco,
They had
the
Uncharted.
Eco. Yeah, so
has
it
Uncharted.
launched with Killzone. It came out with an Uncharted game later. Naughty Dog came out with The Last of Us Remastered Edition. They have Crash.
But that, I
Bandicoot.
mean, that's The Last of
Little
Us isn't a
Big World.
franchise. That just was a good first party title.
Yeah.
They're not known for these. I mean, it's not even debatable.
Oh, they
They're
have
not
Bloodborne. They have a lot of. They are
not to
way-
the extent that Nintendo does. It's not
Yes.
even debatable.
Well,
But-
because Nintendo's only exclusive
Okay,
titles.
Yeah.
But my point is,
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
you need first party content to sell games.
No, you don't. Not if
to
you
sell
have
consoles.
not
To sell
necessarily.
consoles.
If you're gonna
you
pick between a
To
PS4
sell
and an
consoles,
Xbox
you
One,
do. Because if you're not
you say
selling-
that. You say that, but outside of Nintendo, what's the biggest first party franchise, console exclusive franchise?
I would say it used to be Halo.
Yeah, obviously it was Halo, and who's kicking everyone's ass? Sony.
Sony.
So
Well, Sony's
apparently
been
it's
bringing the
not
first
end all
part.
be all.
That's what I'm saying. Sony's been
They have
bringing
a
the
lot
first party
of-
content with
Xbox
the
doesn't
PS4.
have any right
But
now.
the first
Well, because
year,
they're in a fucking
well,
hole, man.
yeah. Well, here's my point though. The first year of the Xbox One and the first year of the PS4 was, you could call it a mess. There was not a lot of really strong first party content. There wasn't a lot of reason to upgrade. Even the third party content, and this was partially because the install base was so huge on the last generation consoles, but there was not a huge drive to upgrade. And I know the Wii U is a really bad example to be like,
Yeah.
oh, you should upgrade from the Wii U to the Switch or the Wii to the Switch.
It's kind of low
But
price.
the Switch has had a very strong year. It's had a very strong outing. That's all I'm saying.
But you could upgrade from the Wii U to a Rock, and that would be like a huge improvement. You'd be
but
like,
no,
wow, I'm
no,
having
what-
much
Dude, have
more
you
fun
ever
with
tried
this
to play
Rock.
video games on a Rock? Because
pretty
I
tough.
have.
It's
and
still more
it-
fun than playing video games on the Wii U.
No, it fucking sucks. Okay,
it's
it's not fun at all.
it's
it
pretty
really
tough.
is.
But-
on the fun scale, 0 out of 10.
But all I'm saying is
0.5 out of 10.
all I'm saying is Nintendo, I'm not, you can say that, you don't even have to say that they're great games. You can say pretty confidently.
I'm sure they are great games.
that
That's my thing.
Nintendo has had a strong
usually are.
launch year. This
They
has
have.
been a good,
They-
the
no,
yeah,
Switch
they
has
have.
had a very
They have.
good launch year. And this cements that.
It's it's kind of a tough thing to gauge. And I really would like to sit down, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't done this. I'd really like to sit down, and even this would give you a full sense, but look at the numbers, the sales numbers of Switch compared to Sony. Well, I mean, again, and the Expo would hardly even matter.
They're on
'Cause it
pace
was
to
so
outsell the Wii and outsell the PS4 month to month at the moment.
That's pretty significant
It is.
in their first year sales, because I've seen a lot of reporting about how they're going to outsell
In their first year sales.
Yeah, that's pretty significant.
Yeah.
That would be. I mean, and I think it's certainly a strong launch year. I don't really dispute that. My point is just that if someone tells me like, oh, Mario Odyssey has it came out to high praise, I'd be like, and the sky is blue. Like, that is not surprising.
Well, I think I see a little bit of validity to your statement, but I could also
It could
say
be a
that just shows that Nintendo makes good game. When they make a Mario
Not
game,
necessarily.
they're gonna push a good Mario game.
So like I agree. I think there's a lot of hype around the Nintendo games. I think the critics there's a huge circle jerk going on around Nintendo
That
right
circle
now.
jerk.
But
Yeah, that's also a good way of
but at
putting
the
it.
same time, it's pretty refreshing to get a polished AAA game. I mean, like look at the last Battlefield. It had tons of bugs in it.
Single player.
Battlefront 2 right now, not doing so hot. Like most AAA games launch with a ton of shit going on.
Single
Yes.
player, no DLC, no microtransactions, none of that shit.
So I
This
get
is
it's
get
like
what you get
it's a
in the box,
refreshing
and
feeling.
it's
to
not
have
going to be
a
buggy
nice
when you
game.
get it.
Well, I think I mean
And
it
it's
may,
gonna- yeah.
so like I don't want to we've probably exhausted this a
Oh
little
hell
bit,
yeah!
but
Yeah,
like
this is good.
But I think it was a good discussion. But I think even that is something that maybe could play into the warm reception of Nintendo. And it's almost just a virtue of the technology. Like, the Switch is a single-player console, fundamentally. It is... Well, and local multiplayer. And local multiplayer.
I was going to say,
But
the
my-
Joy-Con are like
Well, I was
crispy for that.
contrasting it with online multiplayer consoles, which is really what the Xbox and the PlayStation are at this point. And I don't know if that's... It certainly contributes to the culture of irritating practices like loot boxes and DLC and things like that we certainly don't like to see in the video game industry. I wonder if it also perhaps contributes to unfinished games on launch because they know they can patch it later. I know certainly Switch has the capability, but the expectation I think is a little different. But no, yeah, sir, it is great that and that's part of what you get with Nintendo. You're gonna get a first party game that's good and it's done when it comes out and you like it when it comes out and you play it and that's the game and it's pretty much over. And maybe you'll get DLC for it, maybe you won't. And I don't even dispute that the games are good. I'm sure they are. As I said, I got a fucking GameCube and I play my GameCube and I like my GameCube games. And I have good memories of the 64. I even like the Wii. I enjoyed Wii titles.
We would like to play.
We would like to play. So yeah, I don't know. That's that. So
All
I
right.
guess that's the news, right?
No,
There's
that
news.
is there's many
There's no
news.
other
many
That's it.
news.
All right,
There are
David,
many
hit us with
news.
the
But
next
Chris,
news.
what about
Give
the
us-
special question?
Go with the next
I don't
news,
think
my
that's
man.
happening this time, dude.
Was that the special?
We're gonna
question?
keep going. We're going to move on to kind of a sad story. I'm gonna read the press statement fairly quickly, and then we can talk about it as much or as little as we
I
want.
won't talk for the rest of the show. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, dude. Do we know that? Do we know what Visceral Studio is, Brian, Jeremy? I
No.
don't think Jake does.
I do.
All right, Visceral Studio developed Dead Space, Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3.
Aww.
They're owned. Oh, he knows where this is going.
I do.
They're owned by EA.
Aww.
He knows where this is going. They are known for making pretty good AAA experience, AAA first person or not first person, AAA single player experiences. So this is a press statement from EA. The first sentence really just you know what's happening. Our industry is evolving faster and more dramatically than ever. Oh, I should throw this in before I keep going. They were developing a single-player Star Wars experience.
Dude, I'm gonna end it all.
The games we want to play and spend time with, the experiences we want to have in those games, and the way we play, all those things are continually changing. So is the way games are made. In this fast-moving space, we are always focused on creating experiences that our players want to play. And today, that means we're making a significant change with one of our upcoming titles. Our Visceral Studio has been developing an action-adventure title set in the Star Wars universe. In its current form, it was shaping up to be a story-based linear adventure game. Oh, sounds terrible, right?
Who would want that?
Yeah. Throughout the development process, we have been testing the game concept with players, listening to feedback about what and how they want to play, and closely tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace.
Fundamental shifts.
It has been
in the market.
It has
Way to take
become
the fun
clear.
out of fundamental.
It has become clear that to deliver an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time to come.
More loot boxes.
Yes. We needed to pivot the design. We will maintain the stunning visuals, authenticity in the Star Wars universe, and focus on bringing a Star Wars story to life. Importantly, we are shifting the game to be a broader experience that allows more variety and player agency, leaning into the capabilities of our Frostbite engine and reimagining central elements of the game to give Star Wars adventurers greater depth and breadth to explore. This move leads to a few other changes. A development team from across EA Worldwide Studios will take over development of this game, led by the team from EA Vancouver that has already been working on the project. Our Visceral Studio will be ramping down and closing. We're in the midst of shifting as many of our team as possible to other projects at EA. Lastly, we had originally expected the game to launch late in our fiscal year 2019. We're now looking at a new time frame that will be announced in the future. Bringing new Star Wars games to life for every passionate fan out there is what drives us as creators. It's what inspired us to deliver massive new Star Wars Battlefront 2 experience launching in just a few weeks. It fuels our life service in the Star Wars galaxy of heroes. Making games in the extraordinary Star Wars universe is truly a dream for many of us at EA. We have so many experiences to come from players on every platform. We want to take the time to get each game right to make it unique and amazing. We look forward to answering more of your questions, sharing more of our plans and timeline for the Star Wars experience in the months to come.
Guys, I hear that the Star Wars Battlefront 2 game is so massive that the single-player campaign takes 5 hours.
That's
5?
By fives, you
fives?
mean
hours.
one
I mean
five?
one
A whole
One
one, just
five.
one, a whole
One
one.
So, Visceral is shutting down. This is not the first studio EA has shut down that has been known to make single-player games. This is one in a long list.
In fact, this is kind of their hobby, as I take it.
This is kind of their hobby.
This is kind of their
So
thing.
they're shifting this EA Star Wars single-player. I believe they described it as such a terrible thing. A action-adventure title, story-based linear adventure game. They are shutting that down, shifting it to a games-as-a-service model.
Well, we don't know that per se.
Well, they're shifting it to something that players will quote-unquote want to come back and enjoy for a long time to come.
Money, money, money.
I don't.
money.
Yeah, I'm not reading too much into what the Star Wars aspect of it is yet. I guess maybe I'm naive in that I always have my hopes up that maybe they won't fucking shoot themselves in the face again with
Remember
this
Battlefront?
bullshit. I do. You don't know.
Remember Battlefront
Chris,
2?
You don't know how excited I was for when I found out they were going to make new Battlefront games. I've been just like perennially devastated. But
Dude, you should try City
hope
Builders.
springs eternal. Do they have Star Wars City Builders?
No,
Coruscant
it's
Silk
never
City
Star
Builders?
Wars.
Dude,
But
that'd be dope.
you're never
A
disappointed.
Star
whole
Wars
planet?
city builder.
Of cities?
That would be dope.
That would be dope.
If
But,
you do it, we get the licensing rights. So watch out.
I guess fuck EA.
So I think a lot of people have been saying there were some serious issues with Visceral Studios. There was like some serious management issues going on.
They
So
did
the
go
most-
way up over budget.
Right, the
on
most
a few
recent
of the
Dead
games.
Space game I think had like a $60 million budget, and they did not come close
They
to that.
they sold 4 million copies on that game, and they did not make a profit.
$60 million?
million.
That's a low, but
Holy shit.
Metal Gear Solid 5 was estimated to be a $180 million game.
I mean, that's also a notoriously expensive.
Well, how much is
Bungie's Activision or Bungie's
Destiny.
the first game was estimated to be a $500 million game.
That's like
But those are
that's
high
like
prices.
2 or 3 superhero movies.
Yeah.
Dude,
Those
think
are
think
those
about
are
it.
like
game development's
real.
expensive.
You need a huge dev team, and you're paying a dev like what, $70,000 a year.
Yeah, I
You're
suppose.
paying
Yeah,
a
you
ton,
get
you
50
need
or
a
60
lot of
of them.
devs.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people are shifting away from single player games and more to these games where people come back again and again with microtransaction models where you'll throw in more than the asking price.
Well,
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
we gamers are stupid. We'll buy horse armor. Why not just do that shit?
So
dude, but how much is the horse armor going to
It's like
improve
$3.
your... No, but
Well,
how much is it going to improve your stats, dude?
Virtually not at all, dude.
In Star Wars?
No, in Skyrim,
Oh.
which is a single player
in
game.
Oblivion, but
Oh, they had an Oblivion.
They don't
too?
That
have
was where it
horses in
launched.
Star
Oh,
Wars?
I thought it was in Skyrim.
it was like
No.
the first
It was
DLC
actual
ever.
DLC.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, you got to get that horse armor, fam.
So negative thoughts all around though. Yeah.
It's not
Is
good
there-
to hear, but
Is there any positive thoughts on this?
DLC sucks.
A lot of people lost their jobs.
Yay.
They'll probably get. There
They'll
were a lot of
probably
tweets
get
about
yeah.
hiring, but still sucks. Never want to get laid off. Never. Fun.
Yeah, not great news.
So we're
Not
moving
great
on
news.
to another company, Activision, and their latest greed policy. I think Jake specifically requested this one. They actually just got a patent approved for a microtransaction engine, and I'm just going to read a little quote from their patent. This is not like marketing speak. This is not journalism. This is straight up from them.
This is when you legally have to tell the truth because you're filing to the government.
Yes. Quote unquote. For instance, the microtransaction engine may match a more expert marquee player with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases of items possessed/used by the marquee player. A junior player may wish to emulate the marquee player by obtaining weapons or other items used by the marquee player. In a particular example, the junior player may wish to become an expert sniper in the game, as determined from the player profile. The microtransaction engine may match the junior player with a player that is a highly skilled sniper in the game. In this manner, the junior player may be encouraged to make game-related purchases such as a rifle or other item used by the marquee player. That's what I'm going to leave it at. That has a lot of implications right off the bat. That has implications that balance is now going to be purchased, much like Battlefield 2. That has implications that you're going to fuck with the matchmaking. That is nothing really good. It sounds like Battlefield, but worse.
What's ironic is these sorts of
Battlefront.
like policies, and this is basically all I have to say about this. But like, this is like going to fucking kneecap online multiplayer. Like, they're going to kill the market for online multiplayer by ruining it with these.
Kill it,
You
though?
can't make a competitive game with this.
Well, no,
Because people
you
aren't gonna
don't
wanna
have
play
You
anymore.
don't have to disclose that it's in the game,
That's true.
and
you
it's
do not need to
designed
disclose.
so that you don't know. So a little more because it's a long patent, but essentially
Right.
the game, once you buy gear, even if the gear doesn't really have any effect on anything, it will start matching you with players that are worse than you to give you the feeling that that purchase made you better.
That's the other thing.
If you haven't made a purchase, or if it's been a while since you made a purchase, they'll start matching you against players that are better
Jesus
than you
Christ.
and have bought gear.
So it's
that you
manipulating
feel
your
like you want
psychology.
to buy something.
It's manipulating your
But
psychology.
that's
They
marketing.
don't have to disclose that
This
is in
isn't
the game.
marketing though. This is like
And
this is
No, it is.
behind the scenes.
It's changing the game.
It
that
is
you
really,
bought.
it is really.
It's marketing for the
because
You're
microtransactions.
using other players as a fucking billboard, is what
Right,
you're
but
doing.
it's still fundamentally marketing, and
So you're okay with it.
I'm not that I'm okay with it. I'm in the category of, well, what do you fucking expect?
So marketing,
So-
you know you're getting marketed to, though. This you don't know.
Not necessarily.
Not always. Not
Not
guerrilla
always.
marketing.
Not all
How do you
marketing.
not know?
Guerrilla marketing,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
when they you read a Slate article and like in the context of the Slate article, they like basically do like product placement or whatever.
I was thinking you could also like hire a bunch of kids to walk
I
around.
don't know why I shat on Slate there, but they do it with all
like,
online content.
You could hire a bunch of kids to walk around a store with like Abercrombie bags.
Yeah.
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 And, like
Right.
like you hire like 50 kids to just walk around the hall day with Abercrombie bags.
That's true.
And people will look at them and be like, "Oh, those
Oh,
are cool
everyone's
kids.
got
Everyone's got Abercrombie."
That's what you have to
Or
look
product
at.
placement in film.
Whenever
is the same
you
thing.
It's
whenever you
sleazy,
talk
though.
about
It's super sleazy.
whenever you talk about this, the microtransaction stuff or anything that's in that realm, you have to look at it in the context of a marketing decision, because they're gonna make more, or they think that they're gonna make more
but I think
money.
this is a bad
Right,
long-term
exactly.
strategy for the industry.
Exactly.
I think the second people
Which is welcome to
find
fucking-
out that this technology, like by data mining, by whatever,
Yeah.
the second they
Reddit.
find out that this technology is embedded in the game,
It's gonna be dead.
that game's community will die.
right,
That's
and I have
100%
been
correct.
saying that this is Battlefield 2, the Star Wars game.
Battlefront 2.
I've been saying that since the first time we brought this up on the podcast, that people are they're gonna find out about what the shit that they're pulling,
Well, they already know.
and they're not gonna. Well, but more people will.
Yeah,
and
but
they're
it's
gonna
growing.
lose a
It's a
fan
growing
base
sense.
because it's fundamentally an instrument to extract profit from you instead of a game that you play to enjoy.
It's no longer about having fun. It's about a company exploiting you to get
Right.
you
Well, the
money.
company
Exactly.
it was always about
And-
that for the company, but their previous model was we
Yep.
will make fun
Yep.
games. Now, and ever since the advent of online play, they've been looking, and I mean, this is what companies do. Well, this is capitalism 101, but this is inevitably going to lead to them killing the online multiplayer genre because they don't care about the long term. If they can get their buck in the short term, because the CEO could be different next year, it's all, what their bonus is this year is contingent on how many copies they sell. They don't give a fuck if the guy in 5-10 years, that could be someone
But
else. They
that's-
could be retired on the
that's-
fucking yacht.
That's what pushes a company to collapse. It's a
They
similar.
don't fucking care.
But it's a similar thinking to what caused the video game collapse back in the early 1980s.
Yeah, and they collapsed the video game industry.
But who turned that market around was Nintendo, because they. But and not to cuck for Nintendo, but Nintendo had the better business model, so people bought their games. And people preferred Nintendo, which put them in a position of market dominance. Because they had a better business model than their competitors, which was shit posting. Essentially,
That's a really good point. I think.
Well, I don't know that this means that Nintendo is going to be like
No,
top dog
but-
again,
but-
but I do
no,
think
that's not what I'm saying.
I
It's
know
a
it isn't.
parallel.
I know it is.
It's
Yeah. But in 20, people are going to move to something else. Is what we're both saying.
Yeah, and Nintendo has largely avoided a lot of this bullshit.
Yeah.
They have, to my knowledge, have had 2 season passes ever, and they were very reasonable season passes. They
Plus
have
amiibos.
the only. Okay.
I mean, that's
paid
at
DLC.
least,
At
but it
least you get a
doesn't.
figure.
As Chris would tell you, it doesn't really improve the game. It's
Well,
like
for
a skin.
everyone else that it's DLC,
but
through
at least you
plastic
get a
model
figure.
versus-
At least you get the plastic model.
But it doesn't.
Okay.
It
It is
doesn't
less-
markedly improve.
it's
the
significantly
gameplay
less
performance
game-breaking.
than
No,
if
but
you hadn't
it is
bought it.
DLC.
And it yes.
I like
Yeah.
DLC.
You get the
I know.
model.
I'm just saying.
You
It's
get
like-
the model, and it does work for multiple games usually, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's not which.
No,
It's,
DLC is here to stay. That's
yeah, DLC is more okay. Season passes are a little one step further, especially when you don't announce the content before you sell the DLC or the season pass. Microtransactions are one step
fuck
further. Loot boxes are one step further. And then loot boxes in a progression system where it totally changes your rank, and there's a patent in the background that's manipulating you to want to spend more money.
microtransaction engine is
Microtransaction
Spawn of
engine.
Satan.
I
is
think
kind of the
it's
last straw.
implementation, though. I think all of those things can be done well if they're implemented properly.
They'll have a good run with it for a few years.
Overwatch, they do loot boxes. They're only cosmetic items, and I'm okay with that.
I think that's
personally.
great.
I think
Right.
only, and the flip side of that is they provide new content. All of the maps are free. If you buy Overwatch today, all of the new characters, all of the new maps are free. It keeps the player base together, assuming you spend X amount on a loot box every now and again, the average player, that helps fund the development of all this extra content. And I think in that scenario, it's really beneficial. Actually, it makes Activision more money, and it allows players to enjoy the game for longer with more maps and more heroes.
Who makes Overwatch?
Blizzard.
Fucking typical. They're so
But they're owned.
expert.
They're owned by Activision.
Jesus Christ.
But
Yes.
also, so these the patent doesn't necessarily say the things you buy have to change the gameplay. It could be a weapon skin. And
Well,
then
they
it starts
talked about-
matching you up against people that
Yeah.
are worse, and then they'll start
Yeah,
matching you up
that's a
against
good point
people
as
that
well.
are better than
Yeah.
you. So it actively changes your gameplay. So you buy these fucking
To
loot
fuck with
boxes.
your brains.
Yes, and
So-
no, it's psychological manipulation.
It's
we should
straight up like, what is that, classical conditioning?
Yeah, exactly. Padlov's ringing a bell. We should also emphasize that Activision has gone on the record saying none of their games are currently using this.
I'm glad
Did they say
Sure.
and or just
On the
just
other
Destiny?
on the other record, they do not have to disclose that they are using it. So,
Right.
anyways, we'll keep running because there's some good news here. The next point I want to talk about is the Humble and Steam and GOG, I believe. GOG? Has their sale started?
I have
Yes.
no idea.
It
Okay. So all the big Halloween sales are started. A lot of them end November 1st.
Yep.
If you want to grab any games. Brian threw out a few. There's Kerbal Space
Kerbal
Program.
Space Program is on sale.
Oh, for how much?
I think it's $25. It's a game that doesn't usually go on sale. It's really well put together. It's really well done. It's not one of those games that's for everybody. But if you're into that sort of
Space.
no, well, but their
learn some
physics,
physics. You learn
yeah,
some
their
physics.
physics
That's a
are
good one.
really accurate.
Yeah,
like
very,
if you're
very
if you're
realistic.
into that sort of physics type sim,
Yeah.
exploring fucking planets and all that shit. Kerbal Space Program, I would pick that up. I probably am going to pick that up while
might
it's
too.
on sale.
We'll hear about it
GTA
next podcast.
5 is also on sale,
It's half
50%
off,
off. I would pick that up. I think that GTA 4 was exceptionally well done. I think that GTA 5 was better than GTA 4, to be honest.
I'll agree.
And it's just a great game. If you haven't played it, it's on sale, so pick it up. You know, it's super cheap. Well, not super cheap, but it's cheaper than it usually is, and I think
Reasonable,
it's
yeah.
well worth the money even at full price. So,
Yeah,
GTA 5, and it comes with GTA Online if you're interested in that.
A few notable games. Doom is also on sale.
Games on
Yep.
there.
Prey.
Prey.
Wolfenstein.
Prey is on
Prey is on
sale.
there.
Dead by Daylight. The older Wolfenstein games are on
Yep.
sale. So there's a lot to pick up if you are interested. I would also preface that with the Christmas sale is right around the corner, probably about a month and a half, 2 months away. And that's one of all of these companies' two biggest sales.
What
of the
was
year.
they had? It was based on the Left 5 Dead engine, Heist.
I
Something
didn't know
like
that was based on that engine.
No, it was. It's supposed to be one of the best like cooperative in terms of difficulty
Oh.
combat shooters. Payday.
Payday. Yeah.
Payday. Yeah.
The Source engine.
It's
Source
based
2?
off of the same engine that the Left
Alright.
4 Dead games are based off of, and
Payday
it's
2?
supposed to be excellent, but
Yeah.
not so good if you can't. No, not Payday 2. It was Payday 1, the heist. I
Oh.
think
Okay.
Payday 2 is supposed to be shit,
Well,
Really?
from
Payday.
what I've read.
Okay, so we're gonna move on from the Humble and Steam. The last thing I want to talk about from the news, and I'm just gonna kind of run through it, is that NeoGaf actually had a bit of a spit. We're not really gonna discuss this. I'm just gonna run through the key points.
Neopets?
NeoGaf.
Neopets?
NeoGaf. It's
What
a
about the little red dragon?
Dude, I'll trade you.
Club
Dude,
Penguin.
don't trade
Club
me.
Penguin.
For mine,
Dude,
yeah.
don't joke about Club
It's
Penguin,
a
man.
gaming forum, fairly popular. A lot of leaks
Oh,
go
shit.
through there. They had a bit of an issue. The owner was accused of sexual harassment,
Womp womp.
which then caused a lot of people to leave the site, a lot of moderators to lose the site, and the site actually went down for several days, close to a week. Site's currently back up now, and the owner is denying all claims. So, that's that.
Kudos.
If you're gonna be a creep, that's your own problem, but it should not affect the work that you've done. So the fact that this guy is a sexual predator has no, in my mind at least, it has no bearing on the internet work that he's done, the stuff that he's put together online. If I would agree that he's a criminal. If he goes to jail, that's fine. But someone else should step up to fill his place. He shouldn't be. It doesn't have anything. His personal life, the wrong decisions that he's made.
The site itself
should not be affected. The site shouldn't be affected by this one guy's fuck up.
So I'll continue with the moderators that left are trying to bring up a new website, quote unquote, as soon as possible. However, that was before NeoGaf itself actually went back up. I have a feeling if he were to step down and someone else were to take his place, maybe NeoGaf would continue. Like the moderators would resume. Things would continue. Otherwise, I think there's going to be another site fairly soon that emulates NeoGaf.
I don't want to say that because I'm thinking about analogies to the illegal download sphere, but it seems like whenever you have a branch like that where someone says, oh, we're gonna reboot the project by ourselves, we don't need this guy, it never really works quite as well as the original.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is a blow. That's part of why I'm bringing it up. This is not a good thing by any means, but this is where we're at. A lot of good legitimate leaks came from NeoGaf, and it's a shame that things had to happen this way.
Yeah.
So I think we can quickly do a special question because I made it easy intentionally because the news was so heavy. I think we can run around. If y'all are ready.
Let's do it.
Do a quick rundown.
Yeah, let's do it.
We can't deny the fans.
We're actually we're only a minute over. So.
Oh shit! Well, they would have an uproar if we denied them the special.
Well, I would expect that
that's
the
one
fans
more
would
minute
want
of quality.
our content to be thicker and longer and stronger.
Dude, no question.
We're doing the special question. It's an easy one. What is your favorite childhood game? If you're not ready to answer, I can start because I wrote the Google Doc.
Chris starts.
Okay.
Don't tell them we do it on Google Doc.
Now
they know.
Now they know.
Now they know the magic.
They know our secret sauce.
Yeah, so I have a favorite game.
Jake,
You said you were going to go first, but my favorite childhood
is subjective,
game.
by the way.
So, favorite childhood game would have to be Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now known as Star Wars
that came out of
Battlefront
nowhere,
Classic.
dude.
So that is by far my favorite childhood
This is a preface.
game.
Jake didn't own a PS2.
He didn't fucking
I did
own
not.
that
You
game.
only played it at Jeremy's house.
at
right?
Jeremy's house
Damn, dude,
exclusively.
I got feels right now. Shit. Wow,
That's
it's getting deep.
Is that all you? That's all you want to say
That's
about
it?
it?
It's a fantastic game. It's yeah. I mean, I went back and played it recently, and it's definitely not a fantastic game anymore. But it was a great game back then, and I would love. That's what I had hoped from the original Star Wars Battlefront 1, and obviously it did not live up to that. But I think it would be a great game if someone remade it. Please.
All right, I got a three-way tie actually.
I think I also have a three-way. You go first.
Roller Coaster Tycoon, the original one. Actually, up to Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is not worth mentioning.
That's true.
But the first two were excellent. Chris Sawyer, business type sims. If you like Chris Sawyer games and you haven't played Roller Coaster Tycoon, there probably is something wrong with you. The other two were both kind of niche games, Railroad Tycoon 3, as well as the original Microsoft Train Simulator. That's only because I'm a nerd and a loser. Well, it's true. I admit,
You're good. You're good.
But you're internet famous, so it's
I am. I'm aspiring to be internet famous. Neither of those games really hold up. Like Jake said, Railroad Tycoon 3 is kind of fun, but Train Simulator 1, I would not bother playing it nowadays. It really looks like shit. It doesn't run very well, etc., etc. However, if you're listening to this and you were like, damn, Roller Coaster Tycoon was some dank ass shit back in the day, go and play that. Seriously, it holds up a lot better than you would think. There's a lot of replay value to that. It's just a great game, very well done. One that I actually do still play that occasionally, but those were probably my top 3 from back in the day.
All right.
I'm going with three-way tie in ascending order. So 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I'm going Spyro the Dragon at number 3.
Damn.
PS1, rocking that shit. That's a great
game,
fucking
good
game. I never actually beat it when I was a kid because I couldn't figure out how to use the memory card on my PlayStation. But I did beat it in like my freshman year of college, and that's a great game. I'm going Pokemon Yellow at spot number 2, which I didn't know how to save the game because I'm mentally deficient.
I remember that.
But so I would play basically like I would have to like my mom would be like shut that thing off, and I would have to like put it down and like plug it in so it could stay charging while I like waited. The furthest I ever got was the Cerulean Gym to beat Misty. And like I remember one time I think I was at my grandparents' house and I beat Brock.
Wait, what was
with
this?
a like Charmander, and I had like 1 HP the whole time. What's it? Pokemon Yellow
He had a
Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah.
for the Game Boy Color.
He had a Game Boy
Color.
before.
Dude, you couldn't beat Brock?
No, he
Hey,
would always
I
turn
was
it
like
off before he
6.
saved
I
it.
didn't know how to
He didn't save it.
Oh,
save.
And
So
I
every
remember
time I
this.
played was a
I
fresh
remember this.
playthrough.
that struggle is real.
The struggle is
that
real.
struggle is real.
The struggle is real, but there were a lot of memorable moments playing Pokemon Yellow. Like one time I beat Misty and I like jaded my pee. Like it was deep. And then
Did you wear a C? Get J all over your B?
I don't know, dude. I was like 6. I don't remember.
That went to a dark place real fast.
All right, what's your number 1?
And I'm going with Jake on the number 1. I'm going Star Wars Battlefront 2. But
Yes.
I'm dissenting with Jake a little bit. I played it last summer, and I think it holds up better than I expected. Particularly the hero element of it, I think was pretty good. And I think it's a great fucking game. And I think cumulatively, like certainly Jake and I would say Chris too, and even Brian, like we put some hours into that fucking game. Brian less so because he's a
Pokemon-
Star Trek guy.
What? No.
Star Wars Battlefront
I've
2.
never played it
You've
in my
never
life.
played it?
No.
Are you
Never.
sure?
Never.
I think that Jake and
Pokemon
I
Yellow. No,
alone
Pokemon
have
Yellow I've
probably
put some
played
hours
3
into.
or 400.
Pokemon
put
Yellow,
20
I put
hours
some
in that
hours
game.
into, but I've never. I don't like Star Wars, dude.
I know
don't
you
think
do.
it's dumb.
Savage.
I was hoping that
All right, what are you
somebody.
rocking?
First, before I say it, it's obvious. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that Jake said Star Wars Battlefront. I didn't think he was going to say that. Mostly because he didn't actually own it ever.
Damn.
He had Nintendo consoles growing up for the most part. And I'm surprised, and I'm glad that you said Pokemon Yellow because I was hoping that somebody would.
It was the best of the first gen Pokemons. It was,
Yeah, Gen 2 is my favorite.
I had
but-
so many in contention. Like I thought Pokemon Snap, Croc Legend of the Gobos, fucking Rayman. So many good choices.
No, this is good. This is good. My favorite is, and there's a small story to it. I'll keep it quick. It's Zelda Ocarina of Time. This is a childhood game, not favorite game of all time. I remember my cousin had it, and on Christmas Eve, I went to her house, and she had a Nintendo 64, and I played it, and I beat the first temple, and it blew my mind. I was just, this is ridiculous. Like, just the 4 of us were kind of at an age where you could get a hold of 3D, but it was still very much in its infancy. When we were big into games, that was when 3D was really in its infancy.
I didn't have a GameCube until 2008.
Not even GameCube.
I didn't have a console.
Exactly.
I played games on my Inspiron 3800 or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where like 3D games existed, but they
were shite.
they were shite, and 2, if you got your hands on one, it was a pretty big deal. So the first time I played not only a 3D game but a polished one was Zelda Ocarina of Time. I played it. I beat the first temple immediately, and it blew my mind. And I actually have that same cart. My cousin let me have it because she didn't really care about games later. just it really shaped me. I'm still a Zelda fan, obviously. I'm still a Nintendo fan, obviously. But the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, especially the opening childhood segments, because I was a child, really resonated with me, and still does. I still have a good time playing it. So that's my favorite game from my childhood.
So you said that you started to say you were surprised someone didn't bring something up. What was that?
No, I was
Or you were just
surprised
happy
that Jake brought up Battlefront
okay, I
2, and
see.
I was happy that
Gotcha.
somebody
Someone
brought
brought
up
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that was all. Yeah, well, that's good. Brian, do you have anything to say to the listeners?
Yeah, guys. I actually got a special request for you this week. We're trying to do an experiment. So, what I want you to do is actually exceed the fatigue limit on the button in your mouse by clicking that like button. And then if you could leave in the comments how many cycles you got until failure, we're actually going to do a statistical analysis on that and see who has the best type of mouse, who can smash that like button more times than anybody else, so we can recommend that mouse to all of you guys out there, especially our Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, and in the comment section, please let us know what was your favorite childhood game.
Or if you have any random profanities, we like those too.
We like those too, yeah.
Yep.
That's all for this week. We'll see you guys next week, and have a good one.